Welcome back, guys, to the Pink Check Conversations. Thank you for joining me once again. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel and also showed some love to my welcome video. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be on this YouTube journey. So I wanted to just begin with a little bit of an introduction video, more like a get to know me, and also how I have come about into running my own business and the journey that it has been. So just to give a brief introduction to who I am for people who don't really know me, I run a digital agency in Durban, which focuses on brand development, branding, so anything that has to do with design, and I also do social media marketing, so everything digital. My business has been running for almost 3 years now. It turns 3 years this year in July. It's been an amazing journey so far. Last year was my most successful year as I landed a really huge client, and it's been growing from there, and I hope that it will also just move in great leaps as the new year goes forward. So just to let you know a bit of a background story of how things started and what led me here. When I am matriculated, I moved on and I enrolled in a private college for psychology. I was always someone who loved sharing, speaking to people, so I thought that it would make sense to go and study psychology. So I went and I studied. Let's just say the whole year was just a waste of my time because I failed. And from there was a module that I used to go to, which was communications, and that's where I got my first introduction to communications. I asked my lecturer, so if you go and you study communications, what is it that you can move into? And she kind of explained it a bit to me, and then I went and I did my own research. I found I found research in terms of what goes into communications and the careers and all of that, and then I came across public relations. So I weighed my options in terms of enrolling into university, into doing communications or PR, and I saw that PR would be much better for me, and I went and I did that at the Durban University of Technology. And the reason why I chose that course at that school was because of it being practical. Throughout the whole diploma, you have practical assignments. So I knew that I wanted to be hands-on in terms of learning what I want to do and how I want to do it. So I went and I enrolled there and I studied for 3 years. During the course, I also just did a bit more research in terms of where I want to go once I graduate. So I came across digital marketing, I came across blogging throughout that, and then when I saw all of that, I decided, okay, this is the part that I want to take and not actually do traditional PR. So in order to just hone my skills, I started a blog, which was a fashion blog at the time, which I ran for 3 years while I was doing the course. And it really helped in terms of writing, my writing skills. It helped with getting to know the internet, social media, and also just growing my contacts online and also face to face, as I would be invited to certain events whenever they happened here in Durban. There wasn't a lot of us blogging, so if you were a blogger, you would get an invite to events if people knew you. So after I graduated, I then moved on. My diploma was meant, you are supposed to do a internship. So I did my internship at a public relations company, and majority of the work that I did there was traditional PR. So newsletters, I had to deal with the media, and that's where I knew exactly that, okay, this is definitely not for me. I don't want to do traditional PR. And then after that, I got an opportunity to work in a marketing company as an intern again, and also just bringing my digital skills in terms of the social media, handling for their clients and all of that, and also doing their brand's social media. So once I started with that, I liked it, and there was a lot of learning in that company, and I enjoyed it. So I did that for over a year, almost 2 years. And then I fell pregnant. When I fell pregnant, it was a bit of a challenge because of obviously, like, pregnancy is not an easy thing to get into. So it was a bit of a challenge, and then I asked that, is it possible for me to just leave work? So I kind of like quit. So I was like, okay, let me just go home and just deal with what I'm going through right now. So I did that. I was home for a good few months, and then after that they called me back in because there was a project that I had started. So the same company that I was working with, there was a project that I had started with them, and then before I left it wasn't launched. But then whilst I was away at home, they finally got things started and it was launching. So they were like, oh, can you please come back and manage this brand, because you obviously know the project and how you've just molded into what it was. So they called me back in and they gave me a new position as a brand manager for the brand, and that position also just kind of gave me more reason into going into digital marketing and being a strategist and just working with brands from their infant stages into launching and all of that. So that kind of helped also just give me a bit more direction as well. So I worked on there for I think another year or less than that. I actually don't remember the timeline. And then I decided, okay, I'm not really where I want to be. I don't see the growth that I need to see at this moment. And I was contemplating between leaving whilst I still don't have anywhere else to go, because I was applying for jobs. So when I saw that, so I would go to interviews, but nothing would come out of it. And then when I saw that, okay, nothing is happening here, at the end of the year, I was like, okay, it's time for me to decide if I'm coming back the following year or not. So I spoke to my partner and I told him that this is what I'm faced with. I don't like going to work anymore. It's just, the environment is just not for me, and I want to be doing something else, and just be in a more creative space, be working on amazing brands and doing amazing work, and I'm not getting it where I am right now. So what do you think if I quit? So he obviously didn't understand the whole point of why I'm leaving. You have work, you're getting a salary, we have a child to raise and all of that. So he didn't understand, but he was very supportive in terms of me going, leaving and figuring things out while I'm not in that environment, because he could see that it wasn't something that I really wanted to do, and there's no point in me going there and being miserable. So I left work and I didn't tell my parents because they didn't understand, and we all know how Black parents are. They don't understand the career you want to go into sometimes. They don't understand you quitting. They definitely don't understand you starting your own business. So I didn't tell my parents. I just said, oh no, they didn't renew my contract, so I'm not going back to work. That year I sat at home and I continued applying for work. I had also made a decision that even if it comes that I move from one city to another, that's fine, just as long as I'm working in a nice environment and in a company that I can grow and do what I really want to do, which was digital marketing and working with brands. So I applied and applied, nothing came. And then eventually I sat down and said to myself, whilst I'm still in a good space and not really in a depressed mode of not getting work, I might as well just start the business that I want to start, because I've had this idea of having a company, and I've always knew that even if I work for 5 or 6 or 7 years, eventually I want to get to a point where I run my own business. So I started planning. I think it took me a good 6 months, just jotting down ideas of what is it this business is going to do, who are these clients that I'm going to service, and how I'm going to put myself out there and market myself. I did a bit more research about social media, and also just knowing how to use the tools that are available online in marketing the brand and gaining clients and growing the business. So like I said, I spent 6 months, and then after maybe like a month before I put it out there that I'm launching a business. I had a logo, and I had a business name. It was registered, everything was ready to go. And then I put it out there online that I'm starting a new business. So on my personal profile, and I just told people that I'm starting a business and there's a new website that is coming and it's launching on this date. So that was my launch date. So I was excited about it. It was very, very exciting that I'm now finally doing this. My parents didn't understand. So they're like, so you're not looking for work anymore? I'm like, no, I'm just going to do my business. They didn't understand. Even though they didn't really like try to stop me, you can see that the support was not there. But I was not going to allow all of that to just hinder me from continuing. My partner was very supportive. He also didn't fully understand the whole thing of me not looking for work anymore, but he was like, okay, move forward and do what you want to do, and let's see how it goes. So I launched the business. I launched the website, and my website had a blog. So the whole idea around launching my business was that I will have at least 3 or 4 strategies that I would put in place in order for things to just move on and work in the right way. And the first one was my website. So my website launched with the blog. So the blog was going to give out free information. So if you do, if there's a service, I mean, that you give out, and there's a part of it that you give out for free, it will attract people. So it was a very, very good strategy on that part, that okay, I'm going to do a blog, and I'm going to talk about business, I'm going to talk about the digital world, and just how to grow yourself as a business in order to be successful online. So my blog was my number 1 strategy. And then after that, my second strategy, because I knew that no one is now going to trust my work without seeing it. So I said to myself, let me put out that I'm offering consultations. So you can come and see me at a very low rate. We can sit down and we can talk about your brand, your idea, maybe a business that is not working right now. And let's just come up with ideas to how you can move forward. And that helped so much, because I saw more people for consultations who then turned into other clients. Maybe they wanted a logo. So we'd sit down like, okay, you need to have a logo, you need to have this, you need to have that. And those clients then wanted those things from me, because they now knew me, they trusted my ability to work with them, and then I would get work in that way, and then people would be longer clients. So that was my second strategy. And then when I launched, I had also sent out a newsletter. So I went back to my personal email address, and I went back to contacts that I had made over the years while I was blogging, people that I've met, people that I've worked with, and then I've also met through work where I was working. And I put that in a database on MailChimp, and I sent out a newsletter, and I reintroduced myself, and I introduced the business that I was doing now. And I got very lovely responses. Oh, congratulations, we'll keep you in mind should you need something from you, and all of that. And the database continued in terms of whenever I did any type of work, so be it a logo, I would put it out there and I would send it through to them so they can see that this is what I'm doing now and the work. So the database helps in terms of getting out your name and your brand out there to a larger audience, and for them to know what you are doing every now and again. And then I would also allow people to sign up over the website, and then I'll send out weekly or monthly updates about new blog posts, and then just a little bit of advice through the newsletters. So my last strategy was social media. I knew that obviously if I'm going to be providing a service to other brands about being online, my brand also needed to be online. So my whole branding was set up, my whole look and feel was set up, and that's what I used in order to be consistent and drive a clear message online. So I joined Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter as well. On Twitter was my own personal profile. I didn't have a brand profile, but I also had a whole strategy around those different platforms. So on Instagram and Facebook, I would share my work, I would share tips, and all of that, and it drew attention because obviously people were getting something that they didn't know they could get for free, they like different ideas on how to do certain things, what you need in order to build a successful brand, and all of those details. And then on Twitter, I'd be on there basically sharing the same information, telling people what to do when they're running their business, telling people what not to do. And Twitter was really my most successful platform that allowed me to grow and also just gain more clients, because every time I'd share something, people took it in as good insights. And then they would ask, what do you do? And then I'd share exactly what I do, and people would come there, and sometimes people are like, oh, we need somebody who does this, and then they'll direct them to me. So the whole social media strategy that I put in place really worked for me, and I think social media allowed me to grow bigger than anything else. And then whenever I would work with someone and they would love my work, then they will recommend me, and word of mouth was also a strategy that was in place, but that I didn't really have a role in implementing. So it's very important for you to also remember, when you're working with someone, give your best to them. They must see the best from you, and then it's easy for them to tell other people that they can come to you, and that's how your business really grows. So besides the stuff that I put in place in order for my brand to grow, I had a really good support system. I had friends that supported me whenever I needed something, whenever I needed to talk. So a good support system is really important. Eventually, when my parents understood what was happening and saw that the money was coming in, I can actually make a living out of it, they then came on the bandwagon of supporting me, even though they didn't really get what I was doing, but they understood that, okay, I'm running a business, I'm an entrepreneur now, and this makes me money. So they supported me. They still support me whenever I need to rush to meetings and I can't be there for my child or pick him up from school. They're still there. So a good support system is really key, and it has helped me grow my business as well. And then just to talk about the year that I had last year, which was my big year. Beginning of the year, the business started off really dry, and then there was some, I don't even know what to call it. Someone recommended me to a company that was looking for people to run with a new brand that I was launching. So it's an NPO brand. I'd call it an NPO brand. It's a youth program that is run by Johnson & Johnson. So Johnson & Johnson they have a lot of programs that they run under the business, the brand. And this one was a new one that they wanted to pilot in KZN and in Gauteng. So when they were looking for people to work on it, they wanted it to be a program that is for the youth, by the youth. So the criteria for someone who was going to start with the project, they needed someone who was young and from Durban. They're very specific with those things. So the company that they were working with was looking for the right person, and then they kept asking around, do you know anyone who does this in Durban? And my name popped up. But they looked for me online, they saw my website, they saw my social media, they saw my work, and they were like, okay, we're working with this girl. And that's how I got to work with Johnson & Johnson. It was an amazing experience because the project was new. So because the project was new, they had no assets. So by assets, I mean they had no logo, no colors, no fonts, nothing. It was just a plain brand, and I was there to take the brand from nothing to make it look like something. So I did a lot of things with them in terms of their logo design, the whole branding kit, pull-up banners. My team and I did all of those things, and then they had a really lovely booklet for the kids that what they were going to give to them, where it has all the educational stuff in it. So we designed that. So they gave us copy, And then my team and I sat down and we did illustrations for it. We did the images for it and the layout for it, and then we sent it back to them and they went for printing. We were designing bags, we were designing t-shirts, we were designing pins. It was my biggest project ever, and it was the most stressful time ever, because obviously when you're working with such a big brand, they expect you to not drop the ball. They were expecting good work, and I had to deliver, and also the timelines were very, very tight. So I had to work overtime, a long night, sleepless nights, just stressing, anxiety. It was a lot. But when everything was finished and we had the launch, and we saw the kids come in, and when the program started and people were attending these sessions, it was so, so amazing. I will put the link below to the program that I'm talking about, so you guys can go check it out. Maybe if you have younger sisters, or cousins, just let them know to join the program in their areas. But all the details will be on their social media platforms, where you can go and check out all the details and what the program is about. So that was my biggest opportunity that I had, because obviously being affiliated with such a big brand will lead to more things to come, and they did. So when they did all of those things with me, I met with their communications, I'd say communications director in Africa, and we sat down and she's like, oh, she likes my work and she would love some help with their Twitter account. So J&J Africa only has a Twitter account. So when I came in with them, I was working on this youth program, but then they wanted me to join them and manage their J&J Africa account on Twitter, which is also very huge, but also very different, because my brand and who I am as well is that I love working with lifestyle brands, beautiful things, pretty things. So when I was asked to handle J&J Africa, the Twitter account, and create content for it, it was like, whoa, now it's all about global health, very tricky jargon, all of that. It was very, very strict content. But I took up the challenge, and it's been amazing. That has been going on for a few months now. And it excites me to know that when you work with a brand that big, they want to give you more opportunities, sign long-term contracts with you, and just elevate you, and they're very big about elevating young companies, women, and all of that. So it was really, really good to have that opportunity with them and grow that type of bond with them, because they wouldn't have wanted me to work on J&J Africa if they didn't see the potential to do so. So I'm very, very grateful for that, and I'm sure more things are going to come from that. And then last year as well, I managed to work on, I know Issa Rae was in South Africa, I managed to work on that as well, where Jabu gave me the opportunity to handle their social media during the events, and just marketing the whole that Issa Rae is coming to South Africa. So it was exciting. Met a lot of wonderful people in Joburg because of working with that team. I met Issa Rae. It was really, really beautiful. And yeah, 2018 has been really, really amazing. And I just wanted to share all of that with you guys. I know on my social media platforms, I don't put out as much of what I do with the clients. I showcase work, design work, but in terms of the social media parts, there isn't much of that. So I wanted to share that part with you guys, so you kind of get a gist of what exactly I do on a daily basis. And then I just want to sign off by giving you some tips of what I've learned so far, and if you are starting out, what you can also do in terms of what needs to be in place and all of that. So listen out for that. Okay, so my tips that I'm going to leave you guys with is, firstly, have your startup strategies in place. So make sure your strategies are in place. Make sure that they are in line with your business and your brand, and you know why you're doing what you're doing. There's no point in you going on social media if you don't need to be on social media, or maybe you can be on social media, but maybe you just need to be on Facebook and Twitter and not Instagram. So make sure you do your research in terms of that. And then also just be intentional about what you are doing. So let's say for now you haven't started anything and you want to start your business, and you're probably still in university, or you are in matric or whatever. Know why you're going to study what you're studying. Know why you are doing what you are doing. Don't start certain things that don't really get you anywhere, or maybe not get you to where you want to be in the future. So be intentional. I was very intentional in terms of why I'm studying PR, why I'm studying a blog, because I wanted to know more about the digital space and make the right contact. So when I start my business, it's a lot more easier. And then you need to also make sure that you do your research. Do your research before you jump into something. Know it very well, understand it very well, because a lot of people tend to start a business just because they had an idea, or they like this or they like that. It doesn't work like that. Know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Know your industry very well, because if you want clients to come to you, they need to know that you know what you're talking about, even if you haven't studied that. I didn't study digital marketing. No courses now are available, and I did do like a Vega course last year when I could afford. But when I went there, I knew majority of the things they were talking about because of the research that I was doing over the years, and just being practical and immersing myself in it. So do your research so you understand what you are doing. And then the last one would be, if you do make any mistakes in the past, don't allow your failures to determine where you are going. My communications company, my digital agency now, is my third business that I started. I had started 2 other businesses in the past, and I made mistakes by thinking that when I start a business I need to work with other people. So I partnered with friends here and there, and I would start a venture and it won't work, because I think I was also not someone who was able to start a business with someone else. I just needed to go solo. So I didn't allow those things to hinder me throughout what I wanted to do. I still continued. I said, okay, it doesn't work, let me move on and see what happens. And eventually when I started the business alone, it was successful. So if you also make mistakes, and I've also made mistakes while I was running this business, learn from it. Don't allow yourself to now give up and say you're quitting, just continue. And then you'll get to where you want to get. Everyone learns along the way. So yeah, those are my tips that I want you to take away. So as we move forward, there will be more videos that I will go into, maybe talk about the strategies a little bit more, social media, and also how you can use certain tools that I'm currently using to help you. So look out for that. I hope you can continue watching my videos. Please subscribe, leave comments in the comment section. If you have any questions, do let me know. You can DM me, you can email me, whatever you feel comfortable, or you can just leave them at the bottom and I'll be happy to answer them. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope my videos will inspire, educate you guys as creatives and also as entrepreneurs, and that we all grow in this journey to become successful people that we want to be. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.